but you want to fill that family of angles, or you don't really want to fill it. So this is just the bare light source still. I haven't done anything special, but now you can see that the light source is positioned so that it reflects the important parts of the badge. I'm just going to turn this sideways. Now I'm outside the family of angles, so now, there you go, I can light up the BSA again. Now it's a little easier with a diffuser. Oops. But sometimes you get some of these, I photographed a whole bunch of these. My great-grandfather had different aviation-related things, pins and stuff. And generally what you want to do is you want to make sure that the important parts are either lit up or dark. You have to choose, but you want contrast between the two different, like the dark spots, all these dark things, and the bright faces. I should mention that you don't need a diffuser necessarily, though it's simple to make one out of tissue paper or a handkerchief or whatever. Not that anybody has handkerchiefs anymore. But you can also you can reflect. I'm going to put this little thing on this light. That makes this medium sized. I have a little, yeah, okay. Let me zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. This is the light. I put a little metal dome on it. And I'm about to drop it. You can also reflect, just purely reflect the light. So I'm going to bring this light, I'm going to point this up, and then I'm going to take this card and put it over and reflect the light downward. Now this isn't quite as bright. With a flash you would be able to do this with no problem. I can just reflect the light. What I'm doing is I'm bouncing the light. So I have the light pointed upward. And then I put this over it to reflect light down onto the subject. And one way to do this, I've done it so that I just bounce the flash off the ceiling. The ceiling, if you have a nice smooth ceiling, is a good reflector for this sort of thing, because it makes a nice big surface with a large family of angles. Well, it's a large light source, and it easily fills the family of angles of objects that are laying flat on a table, for example. Okay, I'll do one last thing. This is a pretty common thing to sell, and that is some sort of tech item. Tech items, phones, laptops, iPhones, iPods, iPads, they are mostly not diffuse. They're mostly reflective. So you can see here's my light source. Not very easy to do. What you want to do is you want to see what's going on that display, but you don't want to necessarily light it up. You don't want it to necessarily be lit up. So in this case, you see that the family of angles, you can see that I'm reflecting the light source, and I don't want to reflect the light source directly on there. But if I turn it so that it's not reflecting, or if it's only half reflecting the light source, then it looks pretty pleasing. So I have the diffuser here, and I don't want this to be all lit up with where the diffuser is. So you often see this where the edge of the light source will cut across on the object, like on the shiny surface of a laptop. And all that is you have your light source, and this is just reflecting the edge of the light source. So like for example there, now it's cutting across and it looks pretty, and if you can figure out the camera setup with the light source, you can make that look pretty nice. All right. So I covered light, absorbed, reflected, transmitted. Reflection and transmission is both direct or diffuse. The family of angles for direct reflection and transmission. How to control effective size using a diffuser. You can use diffusers of different sizes. I just used a huge one. And then my bare light bulb. How that affects how the intensity between direct and diffuse reflection works. I talked about surfaces a bit, shape and shadow, and how to reveal contours by coming from an angle, how to do reflections. I talked about the different materials in particular, how to do simple background using a mini seamless, and then a couple of setups. And it's late, so I'm going to go to bed now, and I'll finish the presentation tomorrow. Good night.